Hey guys, it's Marshall Tingle with your Superior Ag Insurance Ringside Report for this past week, the week of April 2nd through the 8th. So we have had a really exciting week this past week here across the state of Kentucky on your cattle market, and here at Superior Ag Insurance as well. So before I go any farther, in case you didn't hear the news, we've got a new team member on board. Adam Shoemaker's with us. Absolute pleasure to have him on board with us. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Ian or Adam both. Either one of them can take the best of care of you in any of your insurance needs. But let's talk about this cattle market real fast. So this thing is exciting this past week. Now runs pretty much on average. It's going to be back a little bit from what we saw last week, but we did have some weather. So as far as cattle marketed across the state of Kentucky, sold 20,174 head of cattle. That's back some from last week, but you did have the weather. Take that in consideration. Compare it to a year ago, you're right on board for what we should be at this time of year. Now, what's this cattle doing? What's the market doing? What's the trade look like? So, we're going to start the week off on your feeder cattle. Going to call them unevenly steady. Two lower, two higher. That's till about Thursday. Wednesday, Thursday, the heat got turned on. Your feeder cattle jumped up $2 to $6 higher, both steers and heifers. Now, yearlings, man. Somebody took a can of gasoline and poured it all over top of this deal. We've seen some higher highs than we've seen in quite some time, and I know that I've probably ever seen or sold in my lifetime. So these things were awesome. Because your yearling cattle, we're going to be $5 to $10 higher. High demand on these things. Now, here's one note. Not too many loads of 8 weights. We had some 8 weights trade, astronomically high. Saw a lot more 9 weights this week as far as loads are concerned than what we did on your 8 weight cattle. So let's talk about these light feeder cattle real fast. They're about pretty much on par with what we've been saying. I want to talk about these big yearlings. So your 4 weight steer cattle this week, going to call them 230 to 240. About what we've been seeing. You saw 287.5 on the top side. Now that is up just a hair. 5 weight steer cattle, 220 to 230. They're going to top off at 259 on the high. So like I said, the highs on these cattle keep getting higher. Your average is still sitting about the same as what we have been seeing. But let's talk about these yearlings. My, oh my, have they turned on the gas on these things. And like I said, some of the highest yearlings I've probably ever seen trade, at least while I know for a fact while I've been sitting behind a microphone. So let's start off with the 7 weights. Never talk about 7s. Here's a setup now. Just 25 hit them. These are all black steers, 705 on the average, 202 flat. That's pretty good trade for a 7 weight. We've been seeing a lot of them in the 190s, and that's been good enough. Turned up the heat, 202. Now, write this number down. This is your 8 weight steer cattle. Here's a big string of blacks. 115 head of all black steers. Weight 802 on the average, 201.20. That's right here in Central Kentucky, right in the sawdust. Right here, your meat and potatoes of America. That's actually higher than what your CME feeder cattle index is by almost a solid $10. So that's a really good trade. Now, here's another set of them. This will be a mix just to compare to. Still a strong trade, not a $2 trade, but still pretty good. So here's 66 head of these. These are mixed steer cattle, 848 on the average at 195 flat. So if you were to make them all black, adjust your weight down on the average, you're probably going to be right there flirting with that $2 range, and that's still an astronomical trade. Now, here's a big set of 9 weights. Here's 62 head of 9 weights. These are black and black white face, so black and black baldies, steer cattle, 900 on the money, 190 and a quarter. So a really strong trade there. Like I said, your highs on these things, extremely high right now, and higher than the CME feeder cattle index on your 8 weights, both classes. Now, that's just on your highlights. Now let's talk about your holes as your 8 weights as a whole. So like I said, not too many loads. A lot of big drafts though. And I'm going to say that as a whole, your 8 weight steer cattle this past week is going to trade somewhere in that market of $1.87 to $1.90. And that's going to be on a whole. Now compare that to your 9 weights. We had a few loads of them. 9 weight steer cattle this week, $1.76 to $1.80 respectively. That's weight as far as weight to price. So you know what I'm saying. So that's what you're seeing on your 9 weight cattle. Still pretty good. Now let's compare this to what your CME feeder cattle index has done for the week. So your CME feeder cattle index has been nowhere near 201.20. Still been good, but nowhere near what we traded them for in the sawdust this week. So start off the week Monday the 3rd, 193.02 is your CME feeder cattle index. Tuesday the 4th, 193.29. Wednesday the 5th, 193.22. Thursday the 6th, 194.38. That was your high for the week. And then Friday the 7th, 193.33. So that's what we're seeing as far as your CME feeder cattle index is concerned. Now, Like I said, if you're interested in the LRP policy, there's no better time than right now to invest in one. And guess what? Like I said, we've got a new team member. We've got Adam Shoemaker here with us. Like I said, it's our absolute pleasure to have him with us. He can help you with all of your insurance needs just as well as Ian. So if you have any questions, look the guys up. That's Ian Thomas at Superior Ag Insurance. Ian Thomas, 859-613-2453. Or give Adam a shout. Now call Adam, 859-338-4116, or check them out on the web, www.superioragins.com. As always, thank you so much. Look forward to talking to you soon.